What are some green flags early on in dating that the relationship should become serious? They genuinely like being able to do things to help you out and vice versa. On my second date, before I was supposed to move states, we got stuck in a parking garage cause of an accident for 45 minutes. We watched a non-subtitled foreign film on my phone, enjoyed talking with one another, and we connected despite being done with what we had planned to do and were stuck in a car. I ended up cancelling my move and marrying the woman. Edit. Just realized today was the day I proposed to her 3 years ago. Or that it coincided with the post lol. My husband and I have endless conversations. There's nothing we can't talk about. Nothing. The first time we ever chatted on the phone we talked for 6 hours. We've been together for 15 years and still talk every day. Several times a day. We love our breakfast time because we chat after eating and really enjoy each other's company. We love talking no matter where we are. And since he also works from home, we work together. There's lots of times we're saying nothing. Just enjoying being around each other. But I love that we can talk about anything we want and it doesn't descend into an argument. Early in our dating days, I was on a train with my now husband. The inspector was checking our tickets while we were about to pull away from the station when my husband spotted a woman come running down the platform. He pointed this out to the inspector, who stuck his arm out the window and held the train until she got on. My husband was so casual about it. Didn't think anything of it really. And it was a small action, but one that likely made her day better. I thought it said a lot about his character. That he'd help out a stranger who didn't even know it. I was right. He is still that kind of guy. Both people genuinely enjoying the conversation. Being attentive to each other. About 4 months into my relationship I got injured. There was a chance that I wouldn't be able to walk again. My then girlfriend, now wife, said don't worry, it's going to be okay. We can figure this out either way. I'm okay now. But just knowing she was going to stay with me no matter what was huge. We've been together 8 years now. We have our challenges, but at the end of the day we both know we're there for each other. How good is their company during a drive? Or when there is nothing to do? My future wife and I found that we loved just spending time together. We could talk for hours in a car during a drive. Sometimes the drive was more interesting than where we were going. A few weeks into our relationship, we went through a drive-thru and she spontaneously unwrapped and rewrapped my burger so I could eat it while driving with clean hands. I knew I was going to marry her. Just over a week from now it will be 23 years. If they respond well when you are dealing with a crisis situation, or when you are seriously ill, or when your family member is seriously ill, they may be a keeper. In other words, how do they interact with you during times of stress? Does their presence behavior help? Do they make it worse? Or do they make themselves scarce? Being able to make each other laugh. Understanding the other person's sense of humor is critical in long relationships. And besides, do you really want to get serious with someone who can't hardly make you laugh or smile? You genuinely enjoy one another's company during dull moments. Life's full of them and you are going to want a partner who you can enjoy them with. When you can talk forever about pretty much anything. And when something you have different opinions about becomes an interesting discussion rather than a fight. Encouraging growth. But doesn't try to change your foundation. When, during an argument, both parties take time to listen and respond thoughtfully to their partner and show genuine concern for the distress in their partner, even if it is small. The one that surprised me the most was being upset and telling my BF how I needed them to do this, help me with chores, walk the dog every once in a while, etc. because I was overwhelmed and frustrated and he just responded, okay. I didn't know you felt like that. I'll try to do better, but please remind me if I forget, and that was that. And he did. It seems small and obvious. But holy crap, I don't think I had ever felt more heard. The ability to apologize. If your partner never sees their faults, it'll never work. Do they respect your boundaries? Do they apologize or acknowledge if they have done something wrong without making themselves the victim? You go on a road trip together and still like each other at the end of it. Comfortable silences. If you can enjoy each other's companies without needing a distraction, you're usually golden. Edit. Thanks for awards. I'd like to thank the Academy. And the kind strangers. Noticing the other does not take themselves too seriously. In the very early days of dating my now husband, we took a long road trip for a romantic getaway in Boston. The first night in town. Expensive dinner in a famous seafood restaurant. The server brings the bill and takes my date's credit card. Server comes back with the news that the credit card was declined. Both he and I burst out laughing at the same moment. That was my green flag. Being weird together after only a couple of dates. It has taken me forever with most. But if I'm able to open up and be silly, then I know it's a really good sign, as I'm an introvert and incredibly shy around someone new. Especially someone I see as a partner. If you set a boundary and they respect it. If you say that you are more comfortable meeting them at the date location after they offer you a ride, they shouldn't insist on picking you up. When you feel completely at ease with them. You feel you can totally be yourself. Love is fireworks at first, but if they come with a warm glow rather than edginess, that's a good sign. Being comfortable with time apart. Early on in my relationship, he went out of town with his family. When he arrived back in town, he called me and thanked me for giving him space. But now he misses me and wants to come over. Apparently, his last girlfriend had him on the phone day and night when he was out of town, and he was shocked I didn't call him at all. I was respecting his space. We've been married 5 years now. And I still don't bother him when he's gone for a weekend. He calls me every night before bed. But I don't bug him because I want him to enjoy his time without worrying about me. It helps that I trust him. If the person is genuinely a busy person but will always find time to see you and spend time with you. They don't push their preferences on you and pressure you to maintain them. They're okay with spending time apart. A significant other, or even just a friend, that can spend their own time alone and doesn't absolutely need you to be happy is a major green flag. You should make each other's lives better. Not become each other's entire lives. Open communication about sex and feelings. Holding that stuff in for too long can lead to built-up resentment, communication breakdown, confusion, depression, all sorts of issues down the road. And being okay with raising concerns and issues, like if you find a person who can deal with that level-headedly. Maybe even not agree, but at least hear your piece without getting offended. You're a winner. I don't believe in relationships where there are no conflicts or concerns ever. That just doesn't happen. Relationships are bumpy and full of snags. And being able to navigate them together is so important. I met my wife when I was unemployed and she still dated me. On my first date with my future spouse, we had planned to spend some time together. Then go get a bite and be done by evening. When the date was supposed to end, I invited her for a walking tour of my campus. And that was supposed to end. She invited me on a tour of hers. When that was supposed to end, she asked if I'd ever walked a pretty nearby neighborhood. And we walked there. It was now about 11 PM. I offered to walk her home. I went to walk home. She invited me in for tea. We sat in her living room. Sometimes in long stretches of blissfully relaxing silence, just smiling. And I wasn't on my way home until 2 AM. 8 hours after the date was meant to have ended. If they treat you well when it all goes sideways. Many people are good at being loving when life is easy. Their true selves' other behaviors may show when life is hard. Smaller examples of this might be: how do they treat you when they're sick or stressed out? Well worth paying attention to. Edit a little nuance. Being able to sit in silence without it being weird or awkward. I.e. one person reading a book or knitting or something. other person on the computer or phone or something, etc. If you can be in each other's space while doing your own things and not be bothered by what the other is doing or that their attention isn't on you, and vice versa, I think that's a sign that you can be together but independent. This isn't limited to romantic relationships either. My husband and I backcountry camped on our second date. He was a pro, so I trusted him. He says he was impressed at my willingness to be bold and do something adventurous. We spent several hours hiking into a spot with only conversation in the woods. We set up camp and cooked together. The feeling was peace. Just at peace to be with each other. Work as a team and comfortable with the quiet and fire. I knew he was the one that night. I always thought love at first sight would be a powerful rush or energy. Turns out it feels like coming home. When your soul feels at peace. That's a green flag, my friends. When you are around them, you feel like you're the best version of yourself, the person you want to be. But they shouldn't be changing you. It should be more like naturally bringing out your preferred version of your genuine self. This recently happened to my sister. She'd been chatting with this guy for a while and it was finally safe for them to meet in person. She went out with him and ended up eating something that didn't agree with her. Deep fried pickles are a never again food now. Apparently. She asked him to take her home and he did. As they were walking to the car, she puked. He ran and got her a bag and she ended up puking all over his shoes. Not only did this not scare him off in the least, he started building a care package for her. Her favorite tea, gravel, a bucket and some other stuff. It's seriously the sweetest thing I'd ever heard of. If he's going to do something like that for a girl he's met in person all of twice, imagine what he'll do to someone he's super committed to. They're officially together now. She remembers small details from your conversations. It means they pay attention to you and what your interests are. Did they return their shopping cart to the cart return after grocery shopping? I stand by shopping cart theory as a good indicator of a person's moral compass. When they don't mind doing the boring stuff with you and make even that seem fun. The morning of my first date with my now fiance, my glasses got a massive scratch on them. Any of you fellow glasses wearers know that this means a trip to the store right then and there. I told him, hey, I can't hang out for lunch right now, we had a brunch date. Because I had to get all that sorted first. He offered to go with me and made the journey fun. We told stories on the way there and ended up spending the entire day together. Morning to night. Then did that again 2 days later. Then the day after that. Then a few days after that. We've been inseparable ever since. I asked my then girlfriend to hand me a screwdriver. She asked flathead. Phillips or vodka? Full stop. It was then. I knew she was the one. Mutual respect. She agrees to go out with me. Major green flag. For me this is a red flag. When silent car rides aren't awkward. Being able to randomly text them about anything whatsoever and being able to have a conversation. And never having to worry that they'll be like, where did that come from, or why did you bother to text that to me? Edit. This is a good sign in any relationship. Not just romantic ones. I knew my boyfriend was the one when I asked him how an internal combustion engine actually works. All my life I had been dismissed when I asked cause I just wouldn't understand. He immediately pulled the car over and explained the entire engine from crank to carb. I totally understood and was grateful he saw that I was genuinely interested and he had the respect to take the time to explain. We have been together for over 40 years and working on our project cars is still one of our favorite couples pastime also. He leaves the crunchy french fries for me even though they are his favorite too. You like the same form of entertainment. Sounds shallow. But if you end up with someone, chances are you're going to spend a lot of time watching TV, movies, whatever together. I have ADHD and when I started seeing my now husband, I had ulcerative colitis, total colectomy. I'm a lot better now. He's autistic. I already knew a lot about autism from random trainings as a tutor. Our college had a very high ASD population, was touted as autism friendly when we were there. But when we started seeing each other, he researched ADHD as well as UC to know more about how to help me when I was sick, effective ways for us to communicate. Since both of us had non-neurotypical brains. Prior to our first fight, we actually discussed rules for arguments fights. That sounds fake and corny. But it's really just corny. Short version. If you have some oddity about you and they go out of their way to research it so they can be a more positive part of your life, ask you better questions about how you navigate your life. Lock it down. They accept you for who you are. Flaws and all. Now I'm not saying that the flaws ignored, but they see them and help you work through them and better yourself. Also, they find the little things that separate you from everyone else and celebrate them. My wife pinpointed my hearing disability from the jump and made it known that she didn't mind learning ways to communicate with me when I'm in an environment where I can't hear well. Having a similar set of values. Wanting kids or no kids. They get your humor and laugh at the jokes you tell. Edit. Goddamn. You guys just more than doubled my Reddit karma with one post. On our first date I introduced her as my future ex-wife. She laughed, then quickly shot back with, "Unless I become a widow first." We've been happily married for almost 10 years. A sense of humor is criminally underrated. When the person is able to react to negative situations with flexibility. When they can adapt to a change of plans or a chaotic, unpredicted event and still just enjoy their time with you. When they willingly exercise empathy and understanding instead of anger and shaming. Those are two big greenies in my current relationship that really made me appreciate my son more in the beginning. Early on in the relationship they are already treating you the way you wish you would have been treated in previous relationships. If they wear their national flag on their clothing and they're from Afghanistan, Algeria, Bangladesh, Belarus, Benin, Bolivia, Brazil, Bulgaria, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Cameroon, Central African Republic, Comoros, Djibouti, Dominica, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Gambia, Ghana, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Guyana, Hungary, Iran, Iraq, Ireland, Italy, Jamaica, Jordan, Kenya, Kuwait, Lebanon, Libya, Lithuania, Madagascar, Malawi, Maldives, Mali, Mauritania, Mexico, Morocco, Mozambique, Namibia, Nigeria, Oman, Pakistan, Portugal, Republic of the Congo, Rwanda, Saint Kitts and Nevis, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, Sao Tome and Principe, Saudi Arabia, Senegal, Seychelles, Sierra Leone, Solomon Islands, South Africa, South Sudan, Sri Lanka, Sudan, Syria, Tanzania, United Arab Emirates, Uzbekistan, Vanuatu, Zambia, or Zimbabwe. It's at least a partial green flag. Respect. Consent. Boundaries. Never be with someone who demeans or belittles you. Even as a joke. They shouldn't put their needs ahead of yours, nor should you, again. Respect. And best of all, they should support and encourage you. I saw all this in my husband when we met, see 2008, even though we were dumb teenagers back then. And now he's even more amazing. One time I was with my partner. I got up and started pouring myself some water from a filter and the lid came off. Water went absolutely everywhere, all over myself, the kitchen counter, and the floors. I started to panic and immediately began apologizing profusely. I grew up in a, well, not great home. And a similar mistake that would have resulted in a shouting match and me ending up on my hands and knees scrubbing the entire kitchen. My partner looked up when I spilled it, paused, then started laughing their ass off. They came over to me, stepping over the water and gave me a hug, saying it's okay. Accidents happen. Come sit with me. The water will evaporate. That was the moment I knew I wanted to marry them. They do not post every single romantic thing you do on Instagram. If he contributes roughly equally domestically without even being prompted. If their friends are all great people. Our closest friends are a reflection of ourselves. You can tell a lot about who they hang out with. Also, how well do they treat other people they don't know, waiters, bartenders, janitors, etc. Being embarrassed by past behavior but still mature enough to talk about what they learned from it. I used to think edgy jokes were funny, but I thought on it some and see now how they aren't worth potentially hurting other people. People who can self-assess and grow are the best and healthiest LTR material. When someone enjoys listening to you just as much as you enjoy listening to them, even over subjects they have no interest in. The ability to listen intently to someone purely because of their enjoyment of it shows you care about them. Big green flag. When they are not over the top infatuated with you but just enthusiastic. It's not SI, but they should be able to manage their emotions and have realistic expectations. People such as narcissists, people pleasers, or pretty much anyone with a personality disorder are good at giving you whatever you want at the beginning of a relationship. It is called love bombing. Next thing you know, they either ignore you or lash out if you don't give them the attention they want. My golden rule works in threes. If they treat the service industry with respect. If they treat animals with respect. I replace kids with the elderly. Now that my mom is in her late 60s. I'm even more sensitive to how senior citizens are treated. I DC about the kids part because I'm gay, but the first two are absolutely the biggest things I look for when judging someone's character. It tells you a surprising amount about who they are.